Hey guys, what's up? Vicstar999 here, and today I am doing the books I read in both November and December. I had a pretty slow month of reads in November, so I couldn't do a books I read in November only video, and December it picked up just a little bit, so I just thought I'd combine them. If you're new here, hello. I have been starting a book series here on my YouTube channel, because recently I've gotten back into reading. So if you like this video and you want to see more book related videos, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and let's just get into it. So if you didn't see my last video, where I left off was finishing up, drumroll please, Court of Wings and Ruin. This book, guys, so good. I give this 5 out of 5 stars. This was by far my favorite in the whole ACOTAR series. So basically, without spoiling too much, this takes off where A Court of Mist and Fury left off. So Feyre is going back into the Spring Lands, the Spring Court, to take down Tamlin from the inside. After that's done, it's time to prepare for the war against Hybern. So the main plot of this book is quite literally the war against Hybern. The war happens here, which I didn't expect. I honestly thought it was going to happen in the final book, being Silver Flames, but it happened here. So I was really shocked, and I was like, well, what are we going to do for the rest of the books? Which we'll get into, because of course I had to finish the entire series after reading this. But yeah, like I said, this was my favorite book of the series. This book was insane. It was so high stakes the entire time. In comparison to the first one and the second one, there wasn't as much of a romance focus. This was just more about everything going wrong and the war. Because, spoilers, in the last book, Feyre's two sisters got turned into Fae, so it's also dealing with how they are and what their powers might be. Moral of that is this book just is very different from the first two in the sense of it is more adventure, action-packed versus the romance focus of the other two. Anyway, 5 out of 5 stars. Love this. My favorite of the series. The next book I read, no shock, was A Court of Frost and Starlight. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars, which says a lot because this is just a book that I wasn't a fan of, and I just love her writing so much that she still got a good rating in my opinion. This book was just very Hallmarky. You could find this toned down on the smut level on the Hallmark channel. This book is all about, what am I gonna get people for the winter solstice? What if they don't like my gift? Just family being back together. Here's the thing, there are some things that you do need to pay attention to in this book. Spoiler alert. Some examples being Ryzen going to the Spring Court to see Tamlin for the first time since Aka War, as well as the whole chapter with Morgan on her estate, riding her horse and seeing what's in the forest. Something evil's there, she doesn't know what, and she turns around. We don't know, still, after the last book, we still don't know what this scene means, but I just kind of marked it in my head as like, important, because something was weird with that. But other than that, the end of this book kind of dips into Nesta and the whole next book of how she's troubled and she's going through all this stuff internally, and we kind of feel that with this book towards the end. Also, the main reason why I believe this book was written is because all the other books are written in first person from Feyre's perspective, and this is written in third person as well as first person. So they still have first person Feyre, but they also have third person of everyone else as well, which is what we get into in the next book is all third person. So by Feyre as our main character. But yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. It's just very different from the rest of the series, which was kind of a nice little break after especially Aka War, because golly gee, a lot happened there. The next book I read was actually right when it came out, so I took a little break after A Court of Frost and Starlight, which is where I would recommend taking a break if you have other books that you do want to read. After A Court of Frost and Starlight is perfect. The next book I read was Iron Flame. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I did not like it. I'm so sorry. There's about 600 pages in this, and I would say I liked about 500 on, so about 100 pages of it. I was bored up until the last 100 pages. So basically this takes place quite literally right after Fourth Wing. It's just very much so an information dump in my opinion. They're just loading you up with information about the continent, the different dragons, the different wyverns, the different people who are good and evil, the people who might be good or evil. I don't know, kind of just an information dump. I can understand for how it ends is needed because it wasn't in the first book. She could have included some of this information in the first book, so this second book wasn't so intense in the information world. But yeah, the last like 100 pages, whenever they get back to the, I believe it's pronounced Basgaith War College, that's when stuff starts getting crazy and it starts getting good. Before then, like, we could cut off at least half of this book, so 3 out of 5 stars. It's a series, they're not all gonna be perfect, but meh. On to the next book is A Court of Silver Flames. This is a behemoth, okay? I really didn't have any interest in Nesta. I'm gonna be so honest, she bothered me. She was mean, she was ungrateful, she was very materialistic. I just wasn't into her at all. This book is from third person, all about Nesta. So basically, spoilers of course if you haven't read any of the ACOTAR series, this book starts off with Nesta, and she's just a drunk, and she is just sleeping with everyone in the town, right? So she's, quote, wasting her life away in the sense of she is using all of the High Court's money, she doesn't have a job, she's just very, very depressed, not sure what she's living for. Rysand and Feyre are like, hey, this isn't gonna work anymore. You're not gonna use our money for this stuff. You're going to start training with Cassian because you need to learn how to fight, and you are also going to get a job in the library. Sucks to suck. So basically, once she turned High Fae, we don't know what her powers are, right? So they're hoping that maybe fighting with Cassian, we can get a glimpse of what her powers are, or at least teach her how to defend herself. So from there on out, that's just kind of how the book goes. She's working in the library, she makes a new friend, she is working with Cassian on learning how to fight, she meets a new friend in the Illyrian war camp. The one way I would describe this, besides golly gee, it's a little spicy, is this is womanhood. I can't explain it unless you know. It's just like this girl who is just intimidating as all get out, who just, she doesn't know why she's mean. She can't figure out she's a mean person, but she just doesn't know why. She's dealing with trauma, she's dealing with grief, and she makes two female friends, and they have sleepovers and they read their little romance books together, and she teaches them how to fight and whatnot. It's very, very much womanhood. They also talk about some of the trauma that Nesta went through, as well as her other two friends. I ended up liking it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Very slow burn between Nesta and Cassian this entire book. They have the whole, I hate you, I don't want to be anywhere near you, but like, we can sleep together type of vibe, and I don't know, I didn't really like that. But eventually, we get to where we need to be. And Nesta, my favorite scene in this book was the swamp scene. You've seen it. Even if you haven't read the books, you've probably seen the swamp scene. So good. She's just so powerful and amazing. I just wish I liked her more as a character. I give her an eh. She bothered me throughout most of this book, but still a good book. I understand what she was going through, and I want her to be better. But like, golly gee. Also, last 100 pages-ish, insane. Insane. That's all I'm gonna say. So that was the last book that I read in the month of November. I took a break for, I would say, 2 to 3-ish weeks of reading because I finished my favorite series of all time. I didn't want to read anything else. And I didn't want to hop straight into the Throne of Glass series, which probably would have helped me ease the pain a little bit, but I just had like a post-ACOTAR depression where I just didn't want to read anything else or contain any other type of media. I had this also when I finished the Twilight series. I don't know if y'all have ever had this when you finish a series and you're just depressed. Anyway, in December, the first book I read after that was Silent Patient. I kind of was on a fantasy vibe, as you can tell. I'm kind of a romantasy type of girl, but I also love thrillers. So I thought, hey, instead of reading another romantasy where I might compare back to this beautiful, amazing series I just read, let's read a thriller because my shelf is full of them and I need to start reading them. So I read A Silent Patient, which you may have seen on TikTok at some point. But basically, this is about a psychologist who really, really wants to take on this patient, and she is silent. She killed her husband one night, seemingly out of the blue, no reason why. They had a great marriage, they loved each other. He didn't make a lot of money, she made a lot of money. He wasn't cheating on her, like there was seemingly no motivation as to why she would kill him. And after she killed him, she went quiet. So the psychologist is like, I'm very interested on why she's this way and if I can get her to talk. So that's what this is about. There is a plot twist. Of course, it's a thriller. I guessed it about halfway. Normally I guess it within the first like 2 chapters type of girl, but I guessed it about halfway about what happens. Of course, I'm not gonna tell you, but yeah, if you're into thrillers, I would read this. I thought it was good. I thought it was interesting. I believe I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I'll put it up there, whatever I actually gave it. I don't know. I felt at different points in this book like I needed to finish it. I don't know. I think it was dragged on, but yeah, I like the plot twist. Plot twist was good. The next book I read, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna get a lot of crap for this. Song of Achilles. I gave 2 stars. Oop. I know. I had to review my whole rating system because I feel like a lot of books that I didn't enjoy were at 3 stars and I didn't think that was accurate. This book, I did not enjoy it. I don't know why. I don't know if I was just like overwhelmed maybe by all the similarities in names and locations and whatnot. I feel like I wasn't following along most of the time. But as somebody who does like mythology, Greek, Roman, Egyptian, like I wouldn't even say that that was the case, that I just wasn't understanding the names because I am familiar with them. I don't know. Something about this, I didn't like this book and I don't know why. It was just another book where I was like, I really need to get get through this. It's really pretty and I got it because TikTok told me to, of course, and it's gorgeous. The Song of Achilles is just literally about Patroclus, who is Achilles' love interest, and their lives together until the war that ended them. I thought the romance aspect between our two main characters, Achilles and Patroclus, was just all right. Like, Achilles was just making me mad the entire time. Like, he was so crazy with war and power, and Patroclus took the fall for that in the end. That's that. Sorry, everyone. On to the next book I read was Archer's Voice. This is another TikTok book. Look at how pretty it is. I love it. This is an annotated edition, so that was kind of cool. Archer's Voice is a romance. This kind of gives big city girl, small town boy vibes, which she's not necessarily like a big city, like designer, skyscraper type of girl. She's just larger city than the one that he lives in. Basically, she is just immediately attracted to this man in the town who nobody really knows much about because he is mute. He doesn't speak. And they're all kind of like under this impression that he's weird or that he's violent, and he's not a good guy just because they don't understand him. Coincidentally enough, her dad, our main character's dad, was deaf, so she speaks sign. And our man character, Archer, also speaks sign, ASL. So that's kind of how they communicate. Anyways, this book I really enjoyed. Sometimes romances, like, it's the same plot, just in a different book to me on occasion. And there kind of just was a mystery aspect in this book, and I really enjoyed that, of Archer and why he lost his voice, as well as our main female character, Bree, and why she even left her big city to even come here in the first place. So the mystery behind it was very intriguing to me, and I enjoyed that because it's not just a basic romance, we got a little mystery. I believe I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. It was good. Also, I don't know how to explain this. I also felt a little odded out at different parts of this because he has never had like a relationship before, right? He's 23, I believe. Never had a relationship, never had his first kiss, like all this type of stuff. So she is teaching him how to do everything, and it's just, obviously it makes sense for the plot. But to me, it's just a little weird, and I can't explain why. I wonder if anyone else also felt this way. Like, he didn't even know what birth control was. So, like, once again, for the plot, absolutely it makes sense. If he did know how to do all these things, I would be a little confused about where he learned all them. It was just weird how much detail they went into on different things. But yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was pretty good. If you couldn't tell, after I finished Silver Flames, I was like, I need to start reading all my standalones because I have so many books that are just single books. They don't have a series, or books that only have like 2 in the series and are still being released. And I was just on a mission. I only got 3 books into my mission before starting Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel to the 8-book series of Throne of Glass. Clearly, I didn't do very good on my whole standalone journey. I don't know, something about series is just so magical. Series are just so great, and I connect with characters better. Hopefully in the new year, after I finish this buttload and Crescent City, I'll get back to my standalones. But until then, let's review this bad boy. So if you're unfamiliar, this series finished before the latest ACOTAR came out, aka A Court of Silver Flames. So this was technically her first fantasy series. So like I said, this is the prequel. This is Assassin's Blade. This book is about 400 pages of 5 different sections, and each one is a different story that kind of just gives you building blocks to understand our main character, Selena Sardathian, better, because she ends up at the end as a slave. And it's really interesting because I don't know how Throne of Glass starts, but I wonder how confused people are when they start Throne of Glass without all of this background information. So I give this book 3 out of 5 stars because I feel as though I can't appreciate her and her character as much as somebody else could. A little background, this is, like I keep saying, the prequel. A lot of people argue that this book should be read as book number 4. So Throne of Glass, I'm looking at my books, Crown of Midnight, Air of Fire, and then you read this. I was like, it's the prequel, it's literally book 0. Why would you read this as a 4th book? And I can understand why now, in the sense of you would appreciate this book more, but I think that appreciation aside, this should still be book 0. Because now I feel bad for Selena, and I already enjoy her character and what she's gone through. So I feel as though I'm gonna have more appreciation for the rest of the series as I read it. But I don't know. I personally, I'll keep you all updated as I read through the series, but I think this should be book 0, just based on this book alone. I was really sad throughout this book. She just went through a lot and she lost a lot. And I hate that dumb cow Arabin. I hope he gets what's coming to him. I hate Arabin more than I hate Tamlin. But yeah, as I keep saying, I give this a 3 out of 5 stars just because I thought it was good, but I wasn't as grabbed by it as I would be, say, the next book where I already understand her character and I feel more for her character. But yeah, a good prequel. In the new year, you can expect to see the rest of the Tog series, Crescent City, Lightlark, Cool Prince, From Blood and Ash, Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I have a lot, okay, I got it. But those are some books you can look forward to coming next year in my reviews. Pretend you don't hear a truck backing up right now. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Please also recommend any books that you think I would enjoy. Not that I need any more, but like, I'll get them for you. I'll probably be posting this in January, but I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday season, a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate, wonderful New Year, and I will see you guys all later. Bye everyone.